Hi, everybody. Give me just a minute. I am just getting everything up and running here. Hope you all are having a good week. If you're not, tell me whose chimney I need to shit down, because you should all be having a good week. Who do I need to talk to? I will. I will. I'm grabbing my. I'm right. Yeah. I will. Why didn't that button work? Oh, because I pushed the wrong one. I will. Okay. Hi, Pebbles. How are you? I hope you all are having a good day. I think my friend Atomic is still streaming Death Stranding, which is a whole shebang. Or Death Stranding 2. Okay. Turn that off. Turn that off. Okay. Hi. It's Thursday. I hope you all are having a good May. I hope you're having a good week. I hope that things are going well for you. If not, I'm sorry. Maybe I can make your day a little better. We are doing Stings, Wings, and Other Things. If you don't know what that is, once a month I come in and I gab about different magical creatures. I have something special to announce this week. This month is the anniversary of when I started doing these. So it has been a whole year. It has been a whole year of Stings, Wings, and Other Things. Technically, the first one was on May the 28th of 2025. So, do with that what you will. Special thanks go to my friend Prism Splay. She is graduated now, but Prism was my first ever guest. Prism helped me to plan the content. Prism came and made the first one very, very special. Thank you to all my guests. I'm doing a little lead in today, so bear with me. I appreciate all the people because I don't do that many collabs. I'm a small streamer. In general, if I do collabs, it's usually someone will be like, oh hey, do you want to come hang out on my channel? And I'm like, yeah, sure. My collabs are generally just with, people who I'm really good friends with. So I wanted to do a little shout out. This is the people who have been guests and the creatures we've talked about thus far. Prism, as I said, was my first guest. She came and talked about unicorns and Kirans, which was really cool and interesting. All of these VODs are up on YouTube now, except the Pegasus one. No, the Pegasus one isn't on YouTube yet. It is on Twitch still, so you can watch it on Twitch. Sorry, I had a moment there. Liara was my next guest, so let me give Liara a shout here. So that is Liara's X, if you want to go follow Liara. Liara's a very talented artist. Liara came on and talked about Kelpies and hippocampuses. Liara is a Kelpie, so that was cool. Then I did my first solo stream, and I talked about the Tsuchinoko, which is a flat snake. That was a really fun one. Then Flora came on, and Flora came and talked about different magical horses. My friend Flora is a very talented streamer. She's a very talented artist. There is Flora's info. I'll even do the shout out for Prism because she's not here, but you can still, I don't know, go to her Twitter, go to her Twitch and give her $5. She ain't yell at me. She can't do shit about it. She has no power. Then we hit a wave of solo streams. I did one about Doolahans. I did one about Mothman, owls, and pukas. I did one for Christmas. That was like a mini one, but we talked about the Yule Cat. I did a solo one about the Demon Cat of Washington, D.C. Then my friend Freya came on, and this was also all of the ones that I have guessed for are special. But that was the first time that I had someone on who wasn't one of my team. Oh, that's the wrong shout out. That was the wrong shout out. I have a new phone, so I'm getting used to typing everything in again. Okay, we'll get Freya a shout out in a minute. But Freya came on and we talked about Dream Dragons. Then I did another solo stream. We talked about John Henry. And then we did a stream with my friend Momo. Momo came on, and we talked about Irish folklore. We talked about weird dwarves and just all kinds of different creatures. That VOD's up on YouTube if you want to check it out. Then we did a variety one where I talked about the Casa Obake, the Bonacon, and the Nekeleve. And then I did a solo one last month where I talked about the Pegasus. And now we're doing this one where I am talking about another magical creature. Most of these are solo, like I said. Originally, it was going to be a guest every month. And I was like, I don't know that many people. Trying to arrange a guest every month, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just a small man. I'm just a small man struggling to survive in the world. I can't do that. So when I have guests, I have them. I have plans to have a few more people. Like Flora wants to come back and do another one. Like all my friends are welcome to come do one. I still need to do one with Atomic, but every time I schedule a collab with Atomic, her power goes out. It's like every time I'm like, okay, Atomic, we're gonna do a thing. Her power goes out. It's like it's basically me saying like, hey, Atomic, you want to have your power go out? Bam. So I do just want to give a special thank you to Prism, Liara, Flora, Freya, Momo. Thank you all for coming and for being guests on this weird little thing that we've come up with. They're all very cool content creators. I'm trying to do Freya's shout out, and I'm still too early to do it, I think. Give me one sec. Shout out Freya. There we go. Go follow Freya. Freya's a cool dragon. Ask her about Leon S. Kennedy and why she likes the way he moans. So yeah, I do these once a month. This art is by Flora. It's called Sting. The title of the stream is Stings, Wings, and Other Things. Flora did this awesome book. Flora also did my Starting Soon screen and my BRB screen. I love them both. Flora is a very, very talented artist. There's my hair for you. But yeah, so basically we come out and we talk about a magical creature. It's one of the times I just come out and gab. I play a lot of games, and I'm like, I want to do other things too. I don't just want to play games, I want to do other things. So I've created, like, you know, this and Doodles and Noodles and Tower Tours so we can hang out and chit-chat about stuff. And I love magical creatures. So I was like, I don't think anyone does that. There's a lot of, like, there are no original ideas. Anything that you're doing, someone else is probably already doing or did. But I was looking, I was like, oh man, I don't want to do, like, just a talk show, because, like, there's so many VTuber talk shows. I'm not casting shade on anybody. There's a lot of great VTuber talk shows, but I don't want to be, like, doing the same thing that everyone else does. So I was like, well, I'm going to do this. Because I don't think anyone does one that's just about magical creatures. Today, we are breaking the mold a little bit. We're getting a little experimental. Usually, I reserve these to talk about, like, mythological, fantasy, folklore-y creatures, or characters. In the case of John Henry. John Henry wasn't a creature, he was, you know, folklore. But, I wanted to, I was, like, looking, like, I'll be sitting here with my books, and I'm, like, flipping through, and I'm like, what could I do one on? What could I do one on? What could I do one on? Like, what's gonna catch people's eye? And sometimes I'll do, like, a bunch of little ones, because I think they're interesting, but they're not big enough to hold a whole episode up by themselves. And then other times I'll be like, oh yeah, I can do, like, a whole section just about dragons. Especially when you have a guest, because you bring your guest on and they'll talk and hang out. But yeah. It's usually folklore and mythology. So it's like, you know, vampires. It's not like me just grabbing a creature that I think is interesting from, like, I'm not going to do one about Godzilla. Or am I? So yeah. We're talking about Tieflings today. We're talking about Tieflings. If you don't know what a Tiefling is, I'm grabbing you an image. Don't. That's not a Tiefling. That's Pegasus. Can you tell which folder I'm grabbing from? I bet you can. Alright, let me grab this. We're talking about Tieflings. I am grabbing an image. Bear with me. Hold on a sec. Alright, book. I will see you later. Okay. I have to change my image size because it's too damn big. Look at this. This art's cool. This is from Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition. I forget. I think this is from... Okay. I don't want to get ahead. So, for anyone who's going to come in the comments and yell at me because I missed something, this is a crash course in Tieflings. This is a crash course in Tieflings from one person's perspective. Also, please remember, I am not your GM. Unless you are playing with me at a table this week or the future, I'm not your GM.
Welcome in, Raiders.
Oh my god.
There's someone at the door.
Hi, Atomic. Hi, Engineer. How are you? Welcome in. Thanks for raiding. Atomic, you missed your whole... I was talking about you for like 5 minutes. You missed it. You missed it, Atomic. I was talking about you for like 5 minutes. Atomic's gonna just like... That's what you get for playing Death Stranding. Or Death Stranding 2. Saku talks about me when I'm not here. I didn't know when you were going to get here. For all I know, you're going to play Death Stranding 2 for like another 3 hours. Yeah, I was talking about you for like 5 minutes. I was also talking about Prism and Flora and Liara and Freya and Momo. Knife. No knife. No knife. I have a knife. I have a knife emote, I think. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a knife emote. Atomic did it. There you go. Enjoy. Okay, so we're talking about Tieflings today. I will recap my little note. I am not your GM unless we're playing a game. So if you don't like something I say about an RPG, I can't hurt you. Unless you come to the game on Sunday or any other time that I run a game. In which case, I'm a really good GM. And you're... So yeah. The other thing I do want to add is this is a crash course in Tiefling. So no, we are not going to do an introspective 6-hour-long view of everything that is Tiefling. This is a crash course in Tiefling. Buckle up, we're going in. So why Tieflings? I think they are a really interesting little niche in modern folklore. I think it's interesting seeing things evolve and grow and change over time. And obviously Tieflings, you look at them and you can see in this art that I have here, they're very demonic, they're very infernal, they're devilly, they're, you know, all that good stuff. And that's not really unique in and of itself. There's, you know, devils and demons and diablos all over the place. But I think the Tiefling has found a really interesting little niche area in modern culture. And I like that. I like seeing it grow. To give a recap on my D&D history, I started playing D&D in 4th edition. I was aware of D&D. I probably like poked D&D a few times, but I never really sat down and like played it and bought the books and everything until 4E came out. But that's not where Tieflings started. But we'll come back to 4th edition a little later. So if you're curious, let's dive in here with a little bit of stuff about Tieflings. What are Tieflings? A Tiefling is a fictional humanoid race in Dungeons and Dragons. They are in other games, such as Pathfinder. They go by a different name in Pathfinder. In Pathfinder, they are known as... They are known as Hellspawn because they don't want to get sued, essentially. And they have like some different names, like in Urban Arcana, they're Tieflings. I don't think they like they've used some different names like Devilkin all that good stuff. So, they were originally introduced in Planescape. And if you're like, what the hell is Planescape, Saku? Well, I've got good news for you. I have a video. Everyone's like, oh no, it's a Saku video. No, we don't want to watch a Saku. Too bad. You're watching it. You're watching it and you're going to like it. No, Saku, no, we don't want to watch a video. We want to eat drugs and grow mangoes. No, no drugs. That's the wrong damn link. Paste. Go. I swear to God, if anything ever worked twice in a row, I would. I just would. Yep. Come on, work with me here. Work with me here. Come on. That's fine. Whatever. Alright, window capture, you suck. Get out of here. Be gone with you, Smelly Joe. I am a cool Saku fan. Atomic is still mad because Twitch took away her like 45 stream streak. Atomic had like, I don't know, like 70 stream streak at one point, and she didn't get an alert about a stream, and she lost her streak, and ever since she's like, I'm gonna get Twitch. I'm gonna get John Twitch. I'm gonna find a way. Alright, let me move over here. Image, you are in the way. You are bugging me. Get out of here. Alright, so this is a trailer for Planescape. Obviously, this is just set in the world of Planescape. This is not the Dungeons and Dragons game that it was set in, but this poor dude needs a better job. It is a rat. Why does he have crusty Play-Doh cheeks? That's rude. There's some feet for you. No, my wife! What happened to my wife? Oh, God. Oh, God! Oh, God. What is that? Oh no, what is that? What happened to my friend? Okay. Alright. Great. Fantastic. We love it. That's great. That's great. That is just magical. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let me grab my image. Let me turn my music back on. See, this is the hardest part of VTubing for me. It's not like the model stuff. It's legitimately just moving my stuff around as I switch between like talking and doing other stuff. Okay. So if you're like, what the hell is Planescape? Planescape is an adventure setting, essentially. There's a lot to it. I'm not gonna delve too far into it. That video is a game that was set in Planescape. Do with that what you will. But yeah, Tieflings show up for the first time in that. They kind of show... Okay, so originally they're described as a mixture of humans and something else, which is a very helpful description, right? Like, that's great. Humans and something else. like a ladder, like a giraffe, like a cat, like a human, and what? Um, with the implication that the medium-sized non-humanoid ancestors originated from the evil lower planes. In further supplements, it was clarified that tieflings were usually descended from fiends, but not in the same manner as half-fiends, since a tiefling's fiendish ancestry lies further up the family tree. This description remained true in 3rd edition. Okay. I know some of you are like hearing this and you're like, what the hell does that mean? What is a playable race? Saku, you're confusing me. I want a hug. I want a cookie. It's Thursday. Tell me I'm pretty. You're very pretty. We're explaining. Okay, so in Dungeons and Dragons, you have playable races, which is a race that has stats to essentially allow you to play it as a character. In theory, almost anything could be one, but in practice, it's restricted to things that are somewhat balanced. That's why you have tieflings and not giants. That's why you have halflings and not aboleths. Anything that falls outside the realm of a playable race is either something that is not scalable to be played as a PC, a player character, or something that they just haven't done yet. So if you were like, I want to play an aboleth, and we're like, well, we need to figure out a way to make that work. We're not talking about aboleths, though, today. That's a whole other Cthulhu-esque type of thing. So, these guys show up in Planescape, which is 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, as a player character race for the setting. So they show up, and they're like, okay, we are here, we are in this setting. Then, they got demoted. They got demoted. So they were introduced in the Planescape campaign setting book, and then there was more information about them in the Planescape Monsters Compendium Appendix and the Planewalker's Handbook, and then they got demoted. They got demoted in 3rd edition. They got knocked down to just being in the Monster Manual, and it's like, oh, well that sucks. And they're in the plain touched entry if you're looking for them. They did eventually get bumped back up to being a player race for 3rd edition. They were in the Forgotten Realms campaign setting, which came out a year later. And then they were also featured in Races of Faerun, which came out in 2003. So they came out as like a supplement. Well, not a supplement. They came out as like an adventure specific, a camp. They came out as a setting specific thing for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition. Atomic, are you awake? There's going to be a test. There's going to be a test, Atomic. You better be taking good notes. As soon as I take feet and butts off the screen, Atomic goes quiet. Poor Atomic. Yeah. Show me your notes, Atomic. Stop thinking about, Carl and his feet. Alright, so... But you're making post-stream snacks, not notes? Well, then you're going to fail the test. And you don't get any Hershey Kisses, so there you go. Then in 3.5, they were again in the Monster Manual. And you don't see them as a... That was in 2003, and then they're a player character in the Planar Handbook in 2004, and Races of Destiny 2004. So, Tieflings come out, and they're like, we're in Planescape. Then they get demoted. Then they get promoted. Then they get demoted. Then they get promoted. Then 4th edition comes out. And I like 4th edition. I had a lot of fun playing 4th edition. And you don't have to like 4th edition. But 4th edition was the first one that came out, pulled their pants down, slapped their dicks on the table, and said, Tieflings are a playable race. They're the first. It was the first one to say it. They're in the main player's handbook, and this is where I think we really started to see Tieflings explode. Tieflings got a whole supplemental book. Tieflings and Dragonborn. Those were the two, like, whoa, that they originally came out. 4E got wild with some of the playable races. You had shard mines and shit. It was great. I loved it. But yeah, Tieflings. They were like Tieflings. When they did like the original playtest materials where you had like the different, like, this is a dwarf fighter, this is a human wizard, this is, you know, insert iconic race class combo here. There was the class that never came back, which was Warlord, and a Tiefling Warlord was one of the playtest ones. And I think the only reason Tieflings didn't explode even bigger was because none of the big campaigns picked a Tiefling. Everybody was picking like the iconic ones, but people grabbed onto Tieflings. Like, it was rare was the day that you didn't have at least one Tiefling in your game. If you had like a group of like more than 2 people. Case in point, I just ran Dungeons and Dragons for my friends, and it was Liara's first time playing D&D, and Liara made a Tiefling. It was even better because Liara made a Tiefling Ranger, and everyone's like, we hate Rangers. Rangers suck. And it's like, ha! 2 people wanted to play Rangers in this game, and it was really fun. But yeah. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. So they're in the Player's Handbook, which was in 2008. Then they came out again in Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdom, which was in 2010. They had a whole book dedicated to them, the Player Handbook Races, Tieflings. And this is a note from the design team. So this is from William O'Connor. The artist responsible for designing Tieflings in 4th edition commented that there were few artistic depictions of the race in previous editions. However, with the Tiefling becoming a core player race, the 4th edition design team wanted to radically update their appearance to make them look more intimidating and cool. The horns and tails were defining elements of the race, so my first direction was to make them as prominent as possible. Part of the design of the 4th edition was to integrate design into being a miniature game, so part of the process was to make the characters' silhouettes easily recognizable from a distance. O'Connor highlighted a conversation he had with creative director Stacey Longstreet, who described Tieflings as accursed people, which helped him figure out their cultural aesthetic. O'Connor stated, my immediate touchstone was of course vampires, and I worked to give Tieflings that sexy, dark, gothic appeal despite their deformity, quotation mark. I carried this idea over into everything about them, their clothes and equipment. I wanted everything to have a twisted aesthetic, as all of their prized heirlooms and weapons are relics of a lost past. And they were also cursed and contorted into horrible but beautiful shapes. Imagine the forms of weapons that should reflect the shapes of their tails. Elegant and deadly, like the Tieflings themselves. Okay, so that's the 4th edition mindset, where they said, okay, these guys need to stand out. These guys need to step up. We need to do something big. We need to make them absolutely front and center. And they did that. Tieflings definitely came out and were iconic. They had multiple books. And you can see, like, you know, they made their weapons very, like, Tiefling stuff always kind of had, like, weird shapes to it, and it always looked kind of, like, alien and, like, creepy. And also they had tail weapons, where they'd be like, oh yeah, you can take feats, so you can use your tail with a dagger and stuff like that. You can, like, tie a dagger to your tail and stab people. There's a lot of really great Tiefling stuff, which I enjoy. I would like to see I'd love to see some of the Tiefling feats make their way into, like, 5th edition, but that ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Okay, we're moving forward. We're moving forward into the future to 5th edition. Okay, so the Tiefling again appears as a player character race in the Player's Handbook for 5th edition, which was in 2014. Variant options appear in the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, which was 2015, Mordekainen's Tome of Foes, and they specifically outline the 9 Tiefling bloodlines of the Archdevils of the 9 Hells. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then in 2022, they updated the Tiefling to have options encompassing all of the lower planes. Infernal Tieflings are tied to Lawful Evil planes. Abyssal Tieflings are tied to Chaotic Evil planes. and chthonic tieflings are tied to neutral planes. The options differ in damage resistances, and in the spells they learn at 1st, 3rd, and 5th level. What does that mean? Okay. So in 5th edition, they said, okay, we want the tieflings to be tied to things. So what the hell is the deal with the tiefling? So the basic premise of the tiefling is this. Way back in the day, somebody made a deal with a demon. And said, okay, I need a power-up. Devils and demons are different. They made deals with devils. And they said, like, okay, I need a way to get powered up. I need power, I need influence, I need a Kinko's that is also a Taco Bell, with an ultra clean bathroom. I have needs. And this devil in question is like, I got you, boo. I got you. He asked for no pickles and imbues you with devilish powers. Right. And this trickles down your bloodline, and you get your kids, your descendants, still having made no pact with any devil, bear marks of this pact. The horns, the tail, the vivid coloration, all examples of it. Right? Atomic, what snacks are you making? Tell us what snacks you're making, Atomic, or you will I don't know. You'll step on something yucky. Like duty. We're gonna bug Atomic. I'm waiting for Atomic to answer. Atomic isn't a stream, is not a phone watcher. Atomic is a desktop watcher. This is why I don't have mods, by the way, because I would bug them. I'd bug them all the time. Okay, we're moving on. Atomic is eating or not paying attention, so we're gonna move on. What was I talking about? Okay. You stepped away for 1 second to plug your phone in, and then you get called. You should never step away. I am here. You should be here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No. Step away. Go pee. Atomic just doesn't watch me on her phone. Atomic watches me on her PC, on her desktop. Atomic doesn't love me. She doesn't. It's very sad. Very, very sad. Anyway, so in 5th edition, they were like, well, what if... So they started off with just tieflings. Just tieflings. That was it. And then, like, what if we made them tied to the 9 hells? And then they had, like, different resistances and stuff. And then they said, what if we went even further? You literally had you on your phone while in the kitchen. Well, you weren't answering me. You weren't answering me. Saku's bullying me in front of the tieflings. I'll bully you. I'll bully you in front of the tieflings right now. They're watching you. They're judging you. They're judging you. They want snacks. Where's their snacks? They want some olives and some Funyuns. And, a baguette. Filled with cheese. And a steak. And a salad. And some quinoa. Oh, okay. And then when they did the newer version of D&D, 5th edition, whatever they're calling it now, I forget. I don't care because I don't play it. They did basically, like, instead of it being like just the 9 hells, it's all of the lower planes now. So you have like Genna and Hades, the Abyss, Pandemonium, the 9 hells, Acheron, which comes with more variety of spells and more variety of damage resistance. Well, they want olives. I don't want olives. So yeah, it's just they went from being like, we are guys who are. I want to read this description again because it is the least helpful description. They were originally described as a mixture of human and something else. Human and something else. Yeah, gotcha. Also, let's have some fun talking about the name. So people are like, why the hell do they call it Tiefling? So the name Tiefling is derived from a German word, Tief, T-I-E-F, which means deep or low, and the suffix ling, which means offspring, alluding to the origins in the lower planes in 2nd and 3rd editions. So Tief means deep or low, ling means offspring. So low offspring, lower planes. See? Yeah, interesting. We like it. But here's the thing. I'm not gonna delve too much into 4th edition, because in 4th edition, they are all from a single empire, the Empire of Baal-Turath, and there's a whole thing with their setting. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that, because unless you're gonna go play 4th edition or use Baal-Turath as a campaign setting thing, it doesn't really play too much. Basically, they had this individual kingdom. They got into it with the 9 hells. The devils that reside in the 9 hells gave the ruling classes of Baal-Turath visions while they slept, containing the directions for grisly month-long rituals that would extend their rule into eternity. The details of the ritual have been left unclear in the books for the player's handbook. As the ritual demanded participation of every noble house, those that refused were wholly slaughtered. Once this was done, the ruling class began their ritual. Afterwards, devils from the 9 hells began to appear, and the nobles gladly made pacts with them. These pacts gave power to the nobles and their descendants forever, but also gave them the devilish features of horns, non-prehensile tails. The tails are fully prehensile now. I have yet to meet a Tiefling player who doesn't want to do shit with their tail. Sharp teeth and red skin. From that point forward, the humans were the race known as Tieflings. In 5th edition, the overlord of the 9 hells, Asmodeus, is cited as the ancestral source of their devilish features. Okay, so again, going back. First appearance, somebody is the offspring of some devil, and somebody banged a devil, essentially. And now we got these little demon babies running around. These little devil babies running around. And then it's okay, and then 4th edition came along, and they were like, well, we gotta give them something more than that. It can't just be, the occasional, it doesn't work as a player race unless there's, a shared culture or commonality. And they're like, well, let's give them this kingdom where the noble houses were like, what if we just worship devils? And they did. And that's why you have a whole bunch of Tieflings, because they have a whole kingdom. So there you go. It gives you a nice population boom. And then 5th edition, it was Asmodeus. Asmodeus is the ancestral source of the devilish features. And I'm just looking over some stuff here. So in earlier versions of Dungeons & Dragons, 3.5 and previous, Tieflings have a number of features that reference their fiendish lineage. These include horns located on their heads, pointed sharp teeth, extra fingers, cloven hooves in place of feet, tails, and unusually colored eyes. They exude a feeling of evil even though their race has become civil and no longer lust for power. Many races distrust or outright hate Tieflings, seeing them as devil worshippers. Tiefling villains often live up to this reputation, whereas player characters have a choice to abandon this stereotype. In 4th editions, Tiefling are the core character race and have their appearance altered from 3.5 and earlier. All Tieflings possess large, thick horns of various styles on their head, prehensile tails approximately 4 to 5 feet in length. See, now they have prehensile tails. Sharply pointed teeth, and their eyes are solid orbs of red, black, white, silver, or gold. Tiefling skin ranges through common human shades right into the reds, ranging from brick red to ruddy tan. Tiefling hair, which begins behind their horns, ranges from dark blue to purple to red, in addition to the more normal human colors. With the setting of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, Tieflings are characterized as charismatic, self-reliant, and make excellent warlocks, warlords, and wizards. In Dungeons and Dragons 4th editions, Tieflings do not associate with a specific god or gods. Their lack of faith also means paladins and clerics are seldom, if ever, found. Tieflings have no homeland and are very rare due to a long-lasting war with the Dragonborn, another race seen in the 4th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. Most Tieflings prefer to be adventurers and rarely ever adventure with their own kin due to the prejudices of other races. People are concerned when two or more of their kind travel together. We are going to be talking about so much of this in a minute. In most editions, Tieflings' naming conventions consist of ancestral infernal names. In 3.5, Tieflings use human names until they seek out to differentiate themselves from their parents, after which they usually take fiendish names of infernal or abyssal origin that sound menacing. In 4.0 onwards, Tieflings usually take an ancestral infernal name, although some young Tieflings striving to find a place in the world choose a name that signifies a concept and then they try to embody the concept. In most editions, Tieflings are described as slow to trust, but those who do earn their trust and loyalty earn a firm friend or ally for life. Now, I know some of you are hearing this and are like, that doesn't sound like the Tieflings that I know at all. Right? Like, y'all are hearing this description, you're like, wait, the description isn't quite right. Like, can I get some Saku confused emotes? Like, this is the closest I have, just like, blah, 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 blah. Like, we're gonna look at a video really quick here, because I think this is gonna explain it really, really well. This is gonna explain it really, really well. Hold on. Yeah, I have that one too. God, nobody uses that emote. Boop, 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 boop. Poor Atomic. She draws all my emotes. Except for a few that were drawn by Liara. Let me grab this. No. Grab. Okay. Who messaged me? Who did it? I'm checking my messages because someone messaged me. Everybody hates you. Who hates you? Everybody hates me. No one hates you. Who said who hates you? I thought you're being weird. You're being a weird lady today. Okay, I'm grabbing this. Hold on. Turn my music down. Turn my music down. Put my window back up. Alright.
Thor won't die, will he? Don't even answer that. He can't die. The Traveler would never let that happen, right, Traveler?
Right, Jester.
You know, whenever you want to say hi, I'm just freaking out here trying to save a life.
That's the trouble with gods, isn't it? You never know if they'll be there when you need them.
I'm trying to summon Momo.
The Traveler, he's always there. He's just not always here.
You know who is always here? At least in the scant few days I've known you.
You are so right. The Traveler must have sent Ford so I can have a friend when he's busy.
Who knows the whims of the gods? Well, this doesn't seem like enough.
Can you use your special vision to find more? Like with that ugly ghost frog? Or do you need blood?
Blood.
A secret. That's never happened before.
So mysterious.
Okay, I will cut that off there because I probably showed a little too much of that anyway. But that's fine. Okay, so I showed that to illustrate something. Let me grab my image, put it back on the screen. Then I'm going to change it. Atomic has to eat 6 olives. Alright, let me put this behind that. There you go. Eat your olives, Atomic, or else you get whipped across the ass with dry spaghetti. So, you'll kill Atomic's threatening Jester. What? Atomic? How could you threaten Jester? That's rude. Okay, so the Tieflings in that were both from the Critical Role campaign Vox Machina. And I think, like, they personify some of the changes that we've seen in Tieflings really, really well. I think Tieflings originally came out as kind of a... You'll hold a fistful of spaghetti down the fat baker's gullet till he explodes. Atomic, you're body shaming bakers. You're choking people. I'm gonna whip you across the ass with dry spaghetti if you don't start acting right. You're misbehaving today. Behave. I'm gonna put you in the timeout chair. Okay, so Tieflings originally came out, and they're like this kind of otherworldly creep. Also, it's apostrophe S, Atomic. So remember, everybody, an apostrophe S implies ownership. So the baker's gullet. The baker's gullet. As opposed to the baker's gullet, which would be just incorrect. Yeah, that's just wrong. Atomic is a very talented playwright, everybody. Go and watch her streams and correct her grammar and pronunciation like I do. Okay. So Tieflings start off, and like I think this is true of most things. They don't really have an identity. They start off as just an idea. You know the diff? Well, you didn't type it, so now you know. Atomic, I'm gonna correct you. What are you eating? You didn't tell me what snack you're having. Okay, so they came out. They didn't really have a huge identity in and of themselves. Time goes on, and they keep trying to like give them an identity and build them into a more fleshed out thing. Take like the idea, spicy curry noodles. Atomic, isn't it like 2 a.m. for you? We're waiting for a response from Atomic. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. The stomach tempered by spice and sleep growing stronger. Atomic, is it 2 a.m. for you? Yes or no? Actually, it's later than 2 a.m. It's like 2:48 a.m. So it's like 3 a.m. So, okay, so here's what I get every day. I didn't sleep well. My tummy hurts. I'm like, oh, why? Eat spicy curry noodles at 3 a.m. I swear to God. I swear to God, Atomic. Anyway. And then in 4th edition, they're like, okay, well, let's have them have, like, a common kingdom. And like, an ancestry. But we're also going to kind of, like, keep them apart and keep them going in different directions. You're eating snacks because they make me smile like your lovely friend Saku. So they make you shit? I make you shit? What? How rude. I'm clipping that. I'm clipping that. Anyway, they kind of keep trying to like give, but it's like, okay, so like we give them a kingdom, but then we destroyed the kingdom, and we set them loose. And I have it clipped, Atomic. I have it clipped. Now everyone will know. So we're like, okay, well the kingdom's cool, but like, what can we do? And then it just becomes like, let's just have them be like people. Let's just stop trying to like make them be like, we're trying to make them be less the planet of hats and less like a cool drawing that we didn't know what to do with, and like just let people do whatever they want with them. And that's like where we get into the hyper customization. People love Tieflings. I love Tieflings. And nowadays, if you're like look at Tieflings, they come in a variety of colors. They're every shade, every hue. It's really gotten to the point where it's like, dude, just do what you want to do. You know, the horns come in a variety. I'm grabbing another one. I'm grabbing another Tiefling. This is Molly. This is Molly Mock. Molly Mock Tea Leaf. I like his tattoos. So, these two characters first appeared in the Vox Machina tabletop. Not Vox Machina. Critical Role, The Mighty Nine. And then they're, of course, these are the television series, the show. And they do a really good job. And, like, there's certainly elements of what we've seen described, like, you know, Mollymock is a little slower to trust, but then again, he's also quick to make friends. Which is an interesting dichotomy. Mollymock is very quick to, like, make friends with people, but very slow to trust people. Anyone else like that? Anyone else have, like, a lot of friends, but like, you're my friend now, but I don't trust you yet. But yeah. And I think these two characters really, for, like, a whole bunch of people, like, Tieflings are so cool. These were two of the Tieflings that really kind of, like, I think grabbed people and made them go, man, I want to do that. But you see this explosion of Tiefling characters, and you're like, gee, golly gosh, but I didn't watch Critical Role, Saku. I wonder where all this Tiefling Hi, Karlak. I wonder where all of this Tiefling popularity could possibly come from. Suspect number 1, your wife. I married her first. No. I break out my rarest emote. The rarely seen combo. Atomic, I played this game when it was in playtest. I played this before you. I played this on the Stadia. Eat my dick. Eat my whole dick. I played this before you, and I played it more than you. Go marry Shadowheart. I like Gale. I'm not a Gale hater. I like most. I'm thinking, is there any character? I don't think there's a player character I don't like. No, I like all the player characters. Shadowheart is you, though. Well, you're into making out with yourself, so you can just sit there and do that. This is, of course, Karlak from Baldur's Gate 3. Everybody loves Karlak. If you didn't recruit Karlak, or you accidentally killed Karlak, or something bad happened to your Karlak, it's one of those ones where it's like, oh, man. Every once in a while, someone's like, oh, you should do a playthrough where Karlak's dead. And I'm like, absolutely not. I love her. She is amazing. She did 2 great things. She gave us an awesome barbarian, and she gave us an awesome Tiefling. And Karlak definitely, I think, fits the mold of a traditional aesthetic Tiefling. Again, red hair, interesting horns. She has the cool split horns. Also, this is not an endorsement of Larian Studios, because fuck AI. But I love Karlak, and I do love Baldur's Gate 3 too. And I think for the folks who aren't Critical Role fans, maybe the first Tiefling you encountered was Karlak. And you're like, oh, she's really cool. She's funny. She does do one thing which I really like. Because a lot of Tieflings, when people started, would have the, you know, the bad boy. Like, it's like, oh, I'm from hell and nobody likes me and I don't like anybody. And it's that thing where you're playing and you have, like, the antisocial person. I'm a rogue loner who trusts no one, and I would never go with these people. Great. So I'm going to spend probably the first 3 sessions figuring out ways to keep you from just wandering off constantly. Thanks. Thanks for that. I'm going to break this out again just because I love her. Anyway, so, you know, Karlak has Karlak has, like, an awful backstory, you know, grew up on the street, Rogue is a charismatic party girl. Yes. Atomic, you played a goblin. Atomic was very excited because she's like, I'm gonna play a rogue for the first time. And I was like, oh, that's cute. What are you gonna play? And she hands me her character sheet. And I'm like, oh, a halfling rogue. That's cool. And then she's like, oh wait, I'm a goblin. And I'm like, those are different, Atomic. Those are very different. But Atomic did a good job. Atomic is a good D&D player. There's a reason that, like, in the off-stream games that I do with my friends, I invited her. Atomic did a good job. Paywall goblins. What? D&D? Well, D&D Beyond paywalls everything. Goblins, though, I'm like, damn, dude. Like, that's just mean. That's like paywall and Tieflings. So Carlings are pretty, like, you know, one of the things I like about Carlax, okay, appearance-wise, red skin, horns. I like the broken horn because it's a cool play. You know, she's got human-ish colored hair. And then there's a lot of like body modification, but she has like a horrible backstory. I won't spoil it. But she doesn't let her bad backstory, not bad in terms of quality, but bad in terms of like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened to you. She's a lovely person. She dances. She helps people. She does nice things. She, you know, sees puppies in the window and is excited. She gives me hope. And that's the thing I love about the Tieflings that I like. They're people who are faced with a world that is difficult and trying, and they make their corner of it a little bit brighter. And that's true of Jester. That is true of Mollymock. That is true of Karlak. They help people. We do also need to talk about a little bit here. So there's this thing in Tieflings, and we touched on it a little bit. Okay. Dungeons and Dragons has a multitude of races, like Tieflings. And we talked in 4E, they were like, well, Dragonborn and Tieflings had a war. And it kind of goes back to the old school thing of like Gimli and Legolas. You know, this fantasy race doesn't like that fantasy race. You don't have to include racism in your game. Honestly, like, just don't. Like, it's just bleh, 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 bleh. Like, you know, no one reacted badly to Atomic as a goblin just being on a boat. And that's also setting specific, but it's like people be like, I hate when you play a game and someone's like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna tell you, I used to run games at cons, and I was a GM, and companies would basically have me come out and run games for them. And, you know, between my sessions, I'd usually be wandering around, I'd hang out, and you'd check out what other people were doing, maybe you jump into a game yourself, because I don't get to play that much, I'm usually a GM. Yeah, D&D Beyond paywalling. I'm gonna go on record here. D&D Beyond sucks balls. I can make a better character with a piece of paper from memory than D&D Beyond, and I'll be like, I've been in so many games where I'm making my character. I'm like, oh, are you using D&D Beyond? And like, yeah. I'm like, I'm already done. Like, now I've made a lot of characters over the years, but that's a whole other thing. So like, I was at a con, and I'm not gonna say which con because I don't want anyone to like be like I was there. And like it was a session that was being run, and I happened by, and this girl just looks so dejected and unhappy, and like I glance at her materials, and like she's got her player's handbook, and like you can tell it's basically like brand new. She's got like a brand new player's handbook, probably like her first or second set of dice. And I saw her come in and she was so excited, and she didn't end up at my table, because the games, I was running a game at a different time, and we chatted a little bit beforehand. Super nice lady. And, you know, like, I'm like, I'm like, oh, well, have fun with your game. And like, I'm looking, and she just looks like bedraggled. She looks just so unhappy. And I walked over and I'm like, hey, are you okay? Like, is everything going okay? Because their game was like, you know, they're doing stuff, but like their game's in a lull. And she's like, I'm just really not having fun. And I'm like, hey, if you need to step away, like, you know, you're more than welcome to if you know you don't have to stay at a table. And we like walked off at that point. She's like, hey, excuse me, I'm gonna go. And like we walked around, and I was like, hey, so like what's going on? And like she's like, oh well, I made my we're doing like pre-made characters, and like I picked the tiefling because I love tieflings. And I was like, oh, that's great. And I was like, I love tieflings too. Like, what did it just like bad rolls, or it's because sometimes you'll have a bad session because it's just like I rolled nothing better than a 5, and I'm just getting reamed the entire evening. And it was like, no, the dude just like was like real. Everyone was just so mean to my character, and I'm like, oh, were you like did they have a reason to be? And just like, no, like we would just walk in and they just like, tieflings aren't allowed in this inn. I'm like, oh, no, that sucks. So we went over to my table and I ran a game and she played a tiefling and we had a lot of fun. And I hope that person's still playing D&D. But yeah, my request to GMs, don't like be like, you'll play the like, it's like, look, if one character just likes tieflings because they're like, we are the cleric order of kill tieflings, like, ew, that's gross. Tieflings are great. Please stop inserting racism into our fantasy. Let's do better. Fantasy racism is so lame. Like, what do you gain by that a personal bickering wouldn't do infinitely better? What do you gain that a personal bickering wouldn't do infinitely better? Yeah, it's not good. Also, I'm gonna throw up another tiefling. This one's gonna like bug people. This is Doric from Honor Among Thieves. If you haven't seen Honor Among Thieves and you like D&D, go watch it. It's a great movie. Love it. Love, 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 love it. Again, very like. And people get real mad. 2 characters having a personal beef is always funnier than just elf and dwarf don't like each other. Right. Atomic, you said it exactly. Buddy cop dichotomy is funny. Just being a bigot or a jerk or a bully is not funny. There's a lot of shitty takes at tables. There's a lot of shitty people in the world. These games are supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun, and the reason is because someone is trying to make you feel bad in character or out of character, stand up from that table, come and find me, and we will play a game, and I will beat the shit out of them. Because I'm a really good GM. So yeah, Doric's from Honor Among Thieves, and like very not typical tiefling. Does carry the horns. She's a druid, so she can wild shape. If you haven't seen the movie, it's great. I don't want to spoil it. But generally speaking, for the most part, humanish. Slightly pointed ears, which is pretty normal for tieflings. She does have a tail. But yeah, pretty typical tiefling. In some regards, in terms of the horns, but not so much anything else about her character. But she's a druid, which is really cool. And I'm like, oh man, I love this. And I kind of love that they didn't go with the colors for this one, because like so many sci-fi and fantasy movies, like really talented actors spend the whole movie like just hidden behind makeup, and it's like, oh, I didn't know. It's like, oh, I didn't know this person played that character because they're blue the whole movie. And like, they have like a wig or a prosthetic on their head, and it's like, oh yeah. It's like, acting's hard. Acting's a hard career. God help you if you're a voice actor, because that's even harder because you're completely hidden, unless you get really lucky and land some huge role. Everyone gets mad at Doric. We're gonna grab one sec. I'm grabbing another one for you all here. Okay. So let me grab... Okay, so this is controversial, and we're going to talk about this for a minute. So, before anyone screams... Why is my image not loading? Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec, Pebbles. Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. Okay, we're just gonna use a different image because it's easier. That's fine. I think that image is messed up or broken. I don't know. Okay. Before anyone says it, I am illustrating a point here. I am illustrating a point here. Calm down. It's okay. You're okay. Malevola cannot hurt you. No matter how much you might like her to, you have to buy Dispatch and play it. Is Malevola a tiefling? I honestly don't know. She is very tiefling coded. I will say that. I am not saying one way or the other if she is a tiefling. I am including her in this because we're talking about tieflings today, and I look at this character and I'm like, every D&D player is going to see a tiefling. And people who aren't D&D players are just going to see a demon lady. I see another badass tiefling lady with a giant sword and portal powers. Maybe when we get Dispatch 2, we'll get some more Malevola lore, or we'll get a Malevola book. I mean, her whole gag is that she purposely could do any background. Right, that's the thing. I'm like, well, that's like, and that's the thing with tieflings. It's like, oh, tell us your backstory. And it's like, well, my dad was in a cult, and he made, and then you have, like, Jester, who's like, my mom's the Ruby of the Sea. And just, like, I love that about tieflings. It's the pickup. Tieflings are an invitation for really fun storytelling, because you can do anything with them. Any character could be a fun invitation to storytelling. But I really, really enjoy when people play tieflings. I just think they're really cool. Malevola may or may not be a tiefling. We know she plays Magic the Gathering. Maybe she plays D&D. Who knows? Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? I am grabbing a book for you all. Hold on a sec. Okay, so if you want something to read that is about tieflings in an established setting, there's a couple of books that you can check out. Oh, I broke it. Oh, I broke it. Hold on. There we go. This is a book called Brimstone Angels by Aaron M. Evans. There's also another book called The Adversary, which is part of the Sundering series. They're pretty cool books. I don't say that with, like, you know, any animosity. I enjoyed them. I thought they were pretty fun. They're about twin sisters who are both tieflings, obviously, and their adventures in the Forgotten Realms. If you're interested in the Forgotten Realms, if you love tieflings, and if you're like, I love tieflings, I would really love, like, a story or a book or something, check out Brimstone Angels. Or check out The Adversary. They did a couple of adventures with those characters, and I don't think... Okay. So it's a 6-part saga. So there's Brimstone Angels, Lesser Evils, The Adversary, Fire in the Blood, Ashes of the Tyrant, and then Devil You Know. It's consistently rated pretty well. Like, it's like, you know, has won some polls as like one of the best stories to start off with. So if you're new to Dungeons and Dragons, or you're new to Forgotten Realms, you're looking for something to check out that isn't Drizzt, you can check out Tieflings, or do something else. I am grabbing another image. Hold on for a moment. Give me a moment. We are switching up. Hi, Jester. How are you? Hi, Jester. How are you? There. I really do think tieflings are very, very cool. I do think that it's interesting seeing how something that started off as essentially an addition to a campaign setting has grown into a pretty significant part of culture. You know, like, you have tieflings showing up in video games, you have tieflings showing up in series and movies, books. They're, you know, they've grown into their own thing, as distinct as, say, like, dwarves or elves. Maybe not as recognizable, but then again, those things have been around for many, 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 many years. But then again, so have tieflings. I guess my hope is that the big thing for me with tieflings is I always love seeing people play characters that don't let the bad stuff in their life stop them from doing their best or do good things. I have the only time I have the only tieflings I haven't enjoyed over the years are like, I'm playing a tiefling warlock and I'm the baddest warlock ever and I eat babies, and I'm like, oh my god, get out of here, dude. And I wouldn't enjoy whatever that person made because it's icky and I don't want to. So, yeah. I'm not the right GM for that person. There are GMs for that person and they are not me. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I am going to grab my book and I'm going to put... Oh, that's the wrong book. Hold on. Jester, get in the book. Get there. Don't draw dicks in my book. Saku is leaving. I have to leave. I have to leave eventually, Atomic. I will be back on Saturday with my friend Flora. We're gonna do some more of our Pokemon Nuzlocke. I will be in Discord tomorrow. We're gonna be doing a Discord watch party. The poll is still open for that if you want to vote. Let me see what's winning right now. What do we have here? Okay. Right now the Wind Rises is winning, but it's a very, very close poll, so that could go any which way. I really do like doing these things, wings and other things. I'm like, this one was an experiment because I was like, should I do tieflings? It's like, it's different, but is it too different? I hope this finds some folks. Maybe the tiefling fans will find it and find some joy in it. And for everyone else, we'll do something different next time. And I'll probably do, like, you know, another creature. Maybe I'll have a guest. Let me see if any of my friends are online and streaming. If they are, we'll do some raid action for you. If they aren't, then we won't. Let me see. Who is on? Let's see. I don't want to raid here. I know who will raid. I'll send you over. Alright, let me get this raid going. There you go. And I'm getting my raid message ready for you. There is your raid message. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you all have a good week. Be good. Look after yourselves. Until next time, remember to play more games, hydrate, be safe, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Can we make heal items? Yes, we can.